right, get it right, get it right, get it right. Do it for the VLB, check it out. Fuck it up, 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 fuck it up. Walk, 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 walk with it. Walk, 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 walk with it. Walk, 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 walk with it. Snatch back then, ho. Snatch back, snatch, snatch back, snatch back, snatch, snatch back, snatch back, snatch back, snatch back, snatch back.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Medi. Got Rich in here, man.
Yo, what up, what up, villains?
We sitting on 2 right now, but rest of the squad to be in here. We're in the fashionably late. Like, oh shit, man. Hey, man. Shout out to that boy Paco. I see that boy here in a minute, man. What time for that boy Paco? That boy, he ghosted us in the group, man, but we out here still, man.
You trying to graduate?
Yeah, that's right, man. Shout out to that boy. He working on that master's degree. He trying to get like you, Rich.
Hey.
Except he went to the right school. Shout out to King David. Shout out to Birdstone, man. As always, please smash that like button. Yeah, Damari Brown, the like button for me, please.
Yeah, Damari Brown, that like button.
We're gonna talk about that, man. Definitely. We got who we got here? We got Low Stay Up. Shout out to the villains. Rich, of course. Shout out to Reginald, what they do. Hey, shout out that boy, man. Char was good. 91 King, 561 was good. We got Ketty. We got KB in here. Shout out to Ian. All right, man. That's it, man. Hey, we appreciate y'all being in here, man. Sunday, we're gonna give y'all a little something before. You know what I'm saying? We ain't doing a real BC recap. I didn't really need to. Everything went about as expected. Obviously, second week in a row, we were third week in a row, we were outstandingly off in our in our predictions for scores. We thought it was gonna be a blowout, but I'm okay with that for the reason of it was a very methodically coached game, well thought out, long sustained drives. Got a lot of guys rotation. You got to see Emery. You got to see the number 8, if I'm not mistaken, passer in the nation, top 10. And number 3, wide receiver in the nation. We'll get into that, but shout out to those guys, man. What was it 45-8, 45-7, something like that? Mm-hmm. Very easy game. Didn't have to put too much on film. Keep in mind it's chestnut checkers, so you don't want to be blowing these teams out. We wanted us a blowout, 77-zip, 76-zip, 96-0. We wanted that, but in the reality, if that's happening, you get way too many guys getting on the field. Plus, we got a lot of injuries through 2 weeks, so didn't happen. But KB, you good? Mike, good?
Good.
Let's go with you and go with Rich, man. Tell me what are some positives you saw from the game, and then we'll go into negatives after Rich gets his thing.
I think you covered it. The positive is that we continue to look good, basically. Especially offense, everything is flowing. I think Dawson is being able to do what he wants, gets what he wants out of his guys. I like his aggression. We played against Bethune, and Dawson is checking all the boxes for me. He's starting to check all the boxes for me. He went in Bethune. Remember what I said? I said I wanted to go in and get the game over with in the first quarter. And essentially the game was or would have been over the first quarter if they were trying to get a score for Kobe Young, and he kind of failed on both attempts. I think you get that, then you go ahead and you start seeing guys getting pulled and things like that. So he went in there with the right mindset, and he's doing everything right. Hard to gauge a defense against Bethune. You know what I'm saying? The only thing you can gauge the defense on is if they played bad against a Bethune. Of course, they didn't. So just a continuation of what we've seen the first 2 weeks. That was all we saw. That's all we needed to see. It's Bethune. Nobody got hurt. That's all we needed.
Rich, what you got? What positive you got?
I'll second that. So, 7-48, of course, we would have loved to see that goose egg, and we would have loved to see 70 points. But I think they did something that's more important. I think what they did was they went ahead and they ran sustained drives against a real opponent, and that's something that you can't necessarily do in practice. So you do take these games to tweak some of the things that you need to tweak, implement some of the wrinkles in the offense that you need to implement, and then just make sure that your guys on defense, you get your second string guys, your third string guys, and you rotate guys and see what they could give you when it comes to game time situations. So I think that's what the game was really all about. The one thing I'll say is, all in all, University of Miami handled business this weekend, unlike some other people we know up the road in Florida. That's all I'm saying.
We could talk. We'll talk about that, man. We'll send our shots to some of these other teams, man. But Rich, go ahead and tell me about some negatives that you saw.
Um, in terms of negatives that I saw, I would like to see more from the pass rush. I want to see more from the pass rush. Not only more from the pass rush, but I want to see the second string guys do it. I want to see them second and third string be just as effective and just as explosive. That's one negative. That's about the only negative that I have from this game is making sure that oh, another one, and I'm not being critical. Um, so we know that TVD had the issue last year with staring one receiver down, and that led to turnovers. I think it's better this year. It's better this year, so I am not complaining because he's not doing that. You can clearly see that on film. But I would say speed up the reads, because sometimes I do know X is your boy and you can count on him, but in some situations, sometimes there were one or two instances where you had open receivers that you could have hit as opposed to X, and they could have taken it to the house. So that's my only critical gripe that I have. Those two things, but other than that, everything looked good.
Real quick, K, before you go, man. Hey, shout out to LMV, man. In my opinion, one of the hardest working producers on YouTube.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Shout
man.
out
Shout
Coach
out to
Hayes.
LNV.
Appreciate you being in here. I didn't know you was following us like that. So shout out to her, man.
Yep.
Go ahead, KB.
Negatives, y'all know I'm the king of negatives. So let me see what I can pull out my hat. But we look really good overall. We continue to. The only negatives I would say was the second and third string guys, what Rich is alluding to. They're young guys, so you're not seeing the production out of them. I would like to see more out of them, but especially against a Bethune. But they're young. Like I was watching this one play where the guy got to the outside, and it's because either Bobby got sucked in or he took the wrong hole, and the guy right behind him did like the same thing or whatever. It was just young guys, maybe making young mistakes or whatever. So nothing to complain about. Um, we continue to see, like we saw what Jacoby George did the game before, and now we saw it from Young. There's no way that that's a pattern or anything like that, but it's kind of like I want these receivers to seize the moment, every single moment you have. We can't, you know what I'm saying? Even though it's Bethune, you can't be sloppy like that, Kobe Young. And just like with Jacoby, you can't be sloppy like that the game before. Like every time that ball touches your hand, it's a precious gift. So you can't be fumbling, dropping touchdowns and things like that. Like that is very annoying. Like I'm sure Kevin is probably pretty annoyed. Yeah, you can't be perfect, but at the same time, come on, man. We got to make the easy plays the easy plays. Um, Outside of that, I would like to see the defense get home a lot more. I want to see, particularly when it comes to the front line. We seem to rush three a lot. You know what I'm saying? Or we'll line up with the four and bring blitzes, and we dropping our ends in the coverage. I think way too much, way too much. I kept looking at Jaden Wayne in coverage, and I'm like, it's a little too much for me. But I think I got faith in Gidget. I think he know what he's doing. So there's small things here and there. when you talk about negatives, but nothing major. But some of that stuff could come back to get us down the line. Outside of those things, not much, man. The guys look energetic. The coaches are doing a masterful job. Let's just keep it up.
Before I give my real quick positive and negatives right here. First of all, happy birthday to that boy Popo. It's his birthday today. If you haven't watched already, right here, exclusive interview with Popo Aguirre. Make sure y'all check that out, man. Run them numbers up. Hit that like button on that too, man. Real good in-depth stuff. Real good insight. Definitely talked about some things that and put some perspectives out there that I did not think about the Miami team. I think a lot of that's starting to come to fruition. We dropped that before the season started, I'm pretty sure, or week 1. So definitely check that out, man. Run them numbers up, hit them like buttons. You already know. Now, with that being said, goods for me. Kind of once again touching down on it and alluding to what Rich said. Tyler is not staring down receivers as much as he used to. To counter what you said, Rich, I think it has to do with having an O-line. Like when you're not about to run for your life, or you don't feel that pressure coming, and you're sitting back there, you can't do that. And I think what X has become and why he's being so productive, but not finding the end zone, is the fact that he's become the security blanket, but a legitimate security blanket where it's like, let me just throw this up and see what X does with it. It's like I can actually kind of go through my reads a little bit more, try to find where I see maybe an opening or exploit. I'll give you a perfect example. The deep ball he threw against A&M to Isaiah Horton, I don't think that was, it might have been the first read, but I saw him kind of go through progressions a little bit and then kind of put the ball in a place where he would catch it right between the corner and the safety. The corner bit, and the corner was out of position because, as you saw in the replay, the corner tried to run stride for stride, and then he realized, oh, this dude is faster than me, or he has a longer stride than me. And then when he last minute, he tried to like dive to make a play to kind of throw off the receiver, which in the past has worked. With other receiver coaches, that shit, if I just dive or just do something, you'll lose focus and drop the ball. And we understand, going, oh, I've been in person when I've seen it firsthand. I know it's a real thing. What instead happened is he beat his man, got focused, found where the ball was in the air, caught it, and then he didn't try to do something stupid. He just ran to the end zone. He didn't try to do a cut up on him or anything like that. He just ran to the end zone. And in the past, we haven't seen that. But that comes from being able to go through your reads, because I'm sure at some point, a lot of Shannon Dawson's play calling is probably along the same lines as my man at Colorado State. A lot of underneath drags and ends in routes for X to get open to kind of be that security blanket in the middle of the field. If you stay in your pocket long enough, that middle of the field always opens up because guys start panicking, especially linebackers, and then they bail out to the edges trying to help their cornerbacks who may be in danger. So watching that is definitely an improvement. I applaud Tyler for that. The receivers catching the ball, I see maybe one a game from each receiver, which is still too much for me, and I'm sure way too much for Kyle, but it's something that I think as that chemistry continues to build, it's going to get fixed. The biggest thing about it is they're never like devastating drops, if that makes sense. It's never like a drop. It's like, oh, we need to have this on a 3rd and long. I heard somebody else say that. I think it was Manny Navarro. Shout out to Manny Navarro because I'm not going to steal his research, but I think Miami was never in anything greater than a 3rd and 5 the entire game against Bethune-Cookman, and they never had more than 5 third down scenarios. They were in, I think, 1 3rd and like 7 or something crazy like that. So that what that's telling me is that you're making your marks and you're meeting your marks for your drive goals. On 1st and 2nd down, you're getting the proper yardage you need to make the third down, 3rd and manageable, or you're just getting 1st down. So shout to them. The downside, knowing me, I'm a defensive guy. Not gonna lie to you. And I get it. There were some backups in, and they're still learning the role, but I see a lot to be desired with this jack roll. I'm seeing a lot of guys dropping the coverage and not have the eye discipline to follow the guy, and the guy's getting out behind him, or they're keeping their eyes in the backfield too long and they're spitting something out to the edge, and that guy's getting around them. Bethune exposed it. They put a lot on tape, and we got to fix that sooner rather than later, because I think somebody in the group me excellently pointed out. Shout out to whoever it was. I don't remember who it was, but yeah, schools like FSU and Clemson are going to expose that sooner rather than later. You gain a lot. Kyle loves the backside corner blitz, but yeah.
And let me ask you. So dropping in the coverage, Mehdi.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that our linebackers get killed on those wheel routes, but Jafari looked like he's bigger than them, and he looked like he could play in the secondary. He just drop back, do what he got to do.
I think it's because of where they're coming from. The linebackers are coming from the middle of the field, and with Jafari's drop, he's already on the edge, so he's already closer to the sideline. It's a bad play. We got to fix it. It's a bad play.
Yeah, and I think too, it might just be what are they comfortable with, right? Miami, from what I've seen, don't run a lot of wheel routes. They don't have to. If I'm being completely honest with you, I think that's a panic button. It tells me that you can't find the middle of the field. Your receivers are getting open down the field, so you have to do something that's going to kind of combine the two. When I put him on the outside, if it's there, it turns into a quick swing pass. If it's not, then he turns it up the sideline, and I can find him on a deep route. Miami's defense is so disciplined, it doesn't have to do that. So I know in the last couple of years we got accustomed to it, especially in Rhett's tenure here. But in theory, it almost says that your receivers are being bracketed to the point where you can't find space down the field, so you have to use that as a especially if your O-line isn't holding up. Like I might chip this guy in the backfield and then roll him out, or just straight up roll him out. And then if I can't find what I'm finding left, right, middle, well, get it to him on the edge, because my receiver probably took the DB up the field anyway, and maybe a linebacker. The tight end probably took the linebacker somewhere, and so it's a bailout. It's a scapegoat. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't.
But it's so effective. It's so effective.
It is. I don't personally see the hype, but yeah, it does work, and I have to give credit for that. So
yeah, and remember when we do have an end drop back or a linebacker drop, it's typically because we're getting a corner blitz. We're doing a corner blitz. So I do like the corner blitz a lot. But we just got to have the right personnel to go with that drop back. So that's all. Just if we're gonna do it, you got to have the right personnel out there. So we know Jafari can drop back.
I think sometimes what you got to do, and I don't even want to depend on Jafari doing that. Jafari is he's an athlete, but it's not that type of athleticism. So I don't want him doing that much, right? I think you have to fix your packages.
Chase.
Like you may have to go with or maybe Chase, but you may have to go with maybe like a double striker look. You know what I'm saying? Because your striker should be able to get out of there. Even if it's, you lining up, not Davis. What's the other guy that they say play a lot of the positions in the secondary?
Harris, Jane Harris.
Not Harris. Is it one of those? Is Jade? What's his name? Richards. It's one of those guys that they say. Yeah, it's one of those guys that says playing everywhere. So yeah, that may have to be the look that you give. You know what I'm saying? That would have been a perfect role for Gilbert Frierson, but I'm sorry. But that may have the look you may have to give to get that coverage. If it's a third down, if it's an obvious third down, then they may try this and try that. That maybe have to look because we love Kiko and we love Wesley, but coverage is not their strength. And we know Flag, his coverage is not his strength. So we're running out of linebackers at that point. So we're gonna have to maybe switch up the personnel, and then you can run the same defense. But Mehdi, you remember Florida State got us with that, not last year, the year before, when they did that. They I think Cam was guarding the running back, which was a stupid matchup, and they ran that same play, and they killed us with it. So teams are looking at that. So we have to, there's a hole in every defense, and we can't eliminate everything. But we have to get better at that spot, and I think it may be a personnel change that has to do it.
I'm for Chase Smith, but I really think this staff is being very. I think this staff understands that their depth is not where they think it is.
Hmm.
I think they're being very, very particular about who they play, and they're waiting things out, letting guys get healed up to the point they want to. I think that's not. It hasn't been any more prevalent than like, especially on that defensive line with those defensive tackles and defensive ends. Like those guys are not losing someone like Branson Dean this early in the season, and Akeem Mesidor, he's a chess piece, right?
Beast.
You could put
Best
him you
our
could put him
best
in
D
different
lineman.
places. Yeah. It's huge. And I think and that's through 3 games against two fairly good opponents and one, and I think a lot of that had to do with some of these holes not getting called and guys getting twisted up and bent up, and then this is where it rears its ugly head, right? Which is another thing I'm gonna talk about in a second with another game. But um yeah, we I think it's being carefully utilized in the way that we see things, because I think we can't, even the whole idea of James coming down and playing linebacker like Low Stay Up said. Those are the type of things that in theory you don't want that happen. James is a chess piece, the same way I think Akeem Massador is a chess piece. But if you got to kind of rely on that, that's a bunch of snaps that someone who should be developing is not getting, and it creates a huge void somewhere in the defense, right? Like if James is not playing backs deep and you're bringing him up in coverage as a linebacker, well, that means you got Cam, who's a ball hawk, but it kind of creates some situations like when Cam was going for that pick on that, what I disagree was not a pass interference on Devontae. Those things get exploited, right? Because it's like, well, if James is in the box, that means that's one of them two, that dynamic duo that's up top or down here in the box. That means we're going bombs over Baghdad. Cam was walked up a little bit, so he had to kind of like actually drop and then try to make a really, what I thought was going to be a really athletic play on the ball. He picked it off, but those are the type of things that teams are going to start scheming for, right? Especially as people hear it. People hear the rumbling. I know everybody got their eyes focused on Colorado, but people are starting to believe, and they're starting to think like, man, Miami might be, especially with some of the displays they putting out. But we'll get in that in a second. Here's a question for both of y'all. Is Xavier Restrepo, in your opinion, the best receiver in the ACC? I'll start there.
I'm gonna say he's the
No.
most productive receiver in the ACC and probably in the nation. But go ahead, Cal. I'm gonna let
I
you.
mean, I was just gonna say no. Like, I like Restrepo and all that good stuff, and he's a football player, and he brings it balls to the wall every time. But no, no, he wouldn't be your number one on a lot of teams. His role, what he has, is perfect. It's a perfect role. I'm not gonna overhype that. I love X, but no, sorry. Go ahead, Rich.
No, I mean, n- here's the thing that I like. I like the fact that your numbers don't lie, and that's the thing for me is that for him going into this year is kind of is the money year for him too. The numbers got to match up. So I want him to get 600 receiving yards. In my opinion, from what I see on the field, um, I think he's going to get there obviously sooner rather than later. Uh, even though he had his hang ups, um, Kobe Young is going to get there. Jacoby is going to get there. I think outside of those three, you got Brashard coming on as a number four. So I expect for him to have 400 to 500 receiving yards. And then I need one or two other guys to have over 300 yards. It's really interesting because the focus for me is not really X because I feel like we all know what X could do. I mean, his comparison would be, Braxton Berrios type. But I think X is a better student of the game than Braxton Berrios. I think Braxton Berrios was a little bit more talented, but I think X is a better student of the game, and I also think that X has a little bit more dog in him. I wouldn't say heart because Braxton has a lot of heart. I'll say dog. Um, because X likes to get hit. X likes to be in those crunch time situations. So he's doing exactly what he needs to do. And the beauty is once he gets all the reps he needs to get, and he gets past 600 yards, you can start featuring the next guy, which Jacoby is already being featured now. And when you look at a Jacoby, you think of JoJo Trader and what he could do in this offense. When you look at a what we got Kobe Young doing, you say, hey, Jeremiah Smith, think about it. Just think about it. Look at the lineup. With Ray next year, playing the role of X. So I'm looking at it as a whole, and I just continue to look at it that way because I know that every single NFL roster has a guy like X. They usually have one or two guys like X on their team, and I'm just glad that he's going to get an opportunity. If he continues to play the way he plays, he'll get an opportunity to get drafted and be one of those X factors on a team. No pun intended.
I'll say this.
Like Medic, hold on, Medic, real quick. I'm sorry. You see that comment you put up? That's the thing. Like for you to be the best receiver, either on your team or in the conference, you got to be doubled and bracketed. Nobody's going to a game saying we're going to double this guy or bracket this
No,
guy. It's not that. You know, that's I
I'm
just
gonna
want
tell
to
you,
put that out there.
Kid, I'm
But
gonna tell you that right now. That is going to absolutely happen. But here's the thing: X moves as a slot. That's the beauty of the slot position and why it's become so prevalent in the last 5 to 10 years in the NFL. Because you know your X and you know your Z is gonna be your Y, between your Y and a solid and reliable, tight end, H back, whatever you want to call it. you'll always have um you always have an opportunity to put that guy somewhere where he's gonna create the best mismatch. So most times you usually don't see slot receivers get bracket because your best corners are on the outside. What we started seeing in the last 3 years, I would say 2 or 3, is because of that. And why these corners are making these astronomical amounts of money is that now they're taking those best cornerback on their teams, and they're not just playing boundary anymore. You're seeing them send them to the hey, if Stephon Diggs is in the slot, guess where your ass is going? Jalen Ramsey. That's just an example. I'm not saying Jalen Ramsey is a bet, but guess where you going, Jalen Ramsey? Guess where you going, the other Diggs, Trayvon Diggs. Guess where you going to cover your brother if
right.
that matchup happens, right? That's why they're paying these corners all this money now because, Coleman's usually going to play the outside. You can move him around, but 6'2", you know what I'm saying? Great hands, all that. He's going to, but for 2 games now, he disappeared. A little stat I like to put out there for y'all real quick. Hold up. There is one school in America that got 3 receivers in the top 30 in NCAA statistics. Take a wild guess where that school is. I mean, not USC with that prolific offense. No. The University of Miami. Xavier Restrepo was third in the nation, 3 catches. Played 3 games, 17 receptions for 314 yards. The guy he's behind is from Hawaii, who looks like their entire offense because Hawaii's terrible. And he's only leading by 1 yard. So, in theory, he's a yard behind the number 2 receiver in the nation. The number 1 guy, take a wild guess who he is. The same guy who was crying 2 weeks ago. God damn, Corey getting beat. We are not going to be able to do this against Texas A&M. Corey got to come off the field. Corey's not good. Gage Larvardane. Number receiver in America, 16 catches, 353 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. So, I'm pretty sure that team, don't quote me. Actually, can't quote me because this is a fact. That team just beat Cincinnati on the road in Cincinnati, 31-24.
That was crazy. And Cincinnati beat somebody the week before that was a pretty. I don't know if it was Wisconsin. They beat someone. I'll look it up.
Yeah, someone of possible prevalence. I'm just saying. Shout out to I don't F with FIU for personal reasons, but shout out to FIU. They got a kid Chris Mitchell.
Lights out.
Yeah, he's the number one receiver or number 4 receiver in America. But to finish it off, tied for 26 in America.
Wait. Before just because you mentioned FIU, I gotta go here.
Mm-hmm.
But lights out is balling. He had 240 yards in the first half. This past game.
And it probably I went to Chris Mitchell. I think that was his first career start, right?
I think so.
Fun fact, that is Ruben Baines' cousin.
Yep.
So
and remember Auburn was playing him last year.
What is this man in the back doing, man? Hold on, man. We got Street about to pop up in here. I don't know what he woke up and chose, but apparently it's violence, man. But y'all see when he get up in here, man.
Hey,
but to round it out real quick, number 20, top 26 in America, with 209 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns on 15 catches, Kobe Young, and Jacoby George is number 30, tied at 30 with 202 yards, 4 touchdowns. So, yeah, what is actually shocking to see is the number 10 receiver in America got 250 yards, and he plays for Army.
I mean, we only we only in the week 3. We have to revisit these stats in about 3 or 4 more weeks when everybody has played, higher levels of competition. Then we probably won't see Army in the top 10 and nothing. So we go wait and see.
I would definitely say that I think college football starts next week. Some of these matchups, Ohio State, Notre Dame. We got the year in year out monster known as Temple. I'm just kidding. But
Manny Diaz Bowl.
Florida State, Clemson. I think it's gonna be Oregon, Colorado, which we'll talk about later in the episode. Yeah, I think it's definitely some people that's gonna have their seasons derailed or thrown off the rail starting next week. But
yeah, so check it. So Louisville, Cincinnati beat Pitt 27-21 the week before. Pitt.
I'm starting to fall off that. I thought Pitt was going to be a formidable opponent, but that dude they got the trash can from Boston College, Phil Jurevec. They got
as
him
their quarterback.
as their quarterback. All he did last night was throw 3 interceptions to go like 5 for 13. That's off the top of my head. I don't know for sure, but I know he threw 3 picks. I don't know what they were thinking bringing that dude there. But hey, we got Pitt this year, right?
I have no clue.
I don't think so.
I have no clue.
Nope, we don't.
Okay.
My question is this: Do we care who wins out of Florida State and Clemson? Should we care?
I don't care about either one of those teams. I know Rich does. That's his heart and his soul.
Sorry, Rich. My fault. I forgot Lil Dabo was in here. I meant that from just from a record standpoint. Like, do we care? My bad. Sorry about that, Rich.
I don't care about the record. I care about the is it showing if we got over the hump, because that's a game that not even a month ago, everybody two of those teams counted as a loss. When people said our ceiling was 8-4, possibly 9-3, that was a game that most people had as a loss. I'll say through 3 weeks, I'm not like completely sold. Like, oh my God, this is absolutely I think perception and seeing the direction of the program is important. We've lost closer every game as it gotten more recently to Clemson, but we're still losing to Clemson pretty dominantly. You know what I'm saying? It ain't 58 zip, goddamn it, but it ain't it's 48-10. You know what I'm saying? It's not anything that's
right.
like oh my God. So I think they're ripe for the taking, but I'm not gonna put my ducks in a row before. Like, I gotta focus on Temple. I'm watching that game to obviously see where the mismatches are. You know what I'm saying? Someone sent in the comment, they were like, yeah, I'm watching Travis Hunter, and he's not like that. And like I said, I said this in the chat last night. I'm so thankful. Not because I feel like I'm scared of Deion, but thank God that Deion's not one of those guys who feels like his kid had to go to his the school that he went to, because
His alma mater.
he
Yeah.
would be a motherfucking problem.
Did they even offer? Did they offer him though?
Yeah, absolutely.
They did.
They did.
Oh,
They
okay.
did at the end.
Alabama
At the end, they
offered him. He had
Oh, I
offers.
didn't know that.
He was a
Oh, I
highly
didn't even
rated
know
4-star.
that. Okay.
Yeah, he was a highly rated 4-star. He just wanted to step outside the box and bring exposure to HBCUs, and that's what it was. But he absolutely had an offer list.
I personally think.
1000%.
But my question is, hold on, Rich, real quick. Rich, I'm sorry. My question though was, we should be thinking about it record wise. Like, do we want Clemson to lose a second game and just be eliminated, or do we want Florida State to lose one so that gives us cushion? That's what I mean about the record. Like, do we? Obviously, we got to concentrate on us. If we're thinking we're going to do what we're going to do, then we're going to have to beat both of those teams anyway. But Florida State losing will give us a cushion. Clemson losing to just put them out of this, you know what I'm saying, altogether. So that was my question for both of you guys.
I guess it's just weird because, for one, it's been a long time since we've been in this conversation where we actually had to like look at other people's records to determine if them being good. For example, like I'm looking at Miami, Ohio, like I knew Miami, Ohio to be good, so that win last night is a big deal. Having Gage Larvardane as, you know, the number one receiver in America at this point is a big deal because it gives legitimacy and weight to the team. It's been so long since we had these conversations that I haven't thought about it, but it's just fairly easy. In theory, right? If we're talking about records and where we're going, you can't have Florida State lose. And I think I was joking about the referees, but it seemed like for a large portion of that game, it was just yellow flag, yellow flag, yellow flag, yellow flag. And even through all that, somehow they only won that game by 2 points, right? That's an issue because the first thing I see on ESPN this morning is we don't know if these teams, multiple teams, are just looking ahead or if they're really not as good as we think they are. And Florida State was the number 3 team on that list, right? So now I'm concerned, yes, because you want that to be a ranked versus ranked matchup. You want them to maintain a somewhat decent record through the rest of the season because that gives legitimacy if Miami is taking off to what we anticipate is going to be. Same thing with Clemson. Clemson right now they look like a shell of themselves. I don't know what I'm getting with Clemson. Duke put a lot of things on tape. Duke looks like the as weird as this might sound, Duke looks like they're the team to beat in the conference. And guess who got them on their schedule this year? Florida State. So yeah, it could be, and they got Clemson and Florida State and Duke before us. So there could be a myriad of things we're looking at where it's like, yeah, they had all this preseason hype. They were the number 3 team in America, blah, 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 blah. The last time in 2017, that year they played Alabama, they did the same thing. That is what sparked them getting kicked to sleep by Alabama and then eventually losing a bunch of games that they shouldn't have lost to Boston College. And then they fell off the cliff. And then we didn't hear from them again. They had all those losing records. And that's when they brought in Mike Norvell. So I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying this is why I don't ever buy into preseason hype for reasons like this. There's way too much parity. Probably the most I've ever seen. Me and Rich was talking about this off screen before we started. And when everybody started getting paid, you know, this is what, year 3 of NIL?
Right.
Look at the power dynamic and how it shifted. I told him, I was like, Miami is 4-2 this season against the SEC. They went 4-1 alone this weekend against the Big Ten. Those are the 2 conferences everybody's telling me, oh, those are 2 conferences we got to leave for. Well, now I'm starting to scratch my head like, do we have to leave for those conferences?
I think we do, though. It's a money thing. It's not even about that. It's money, TV deals, yeah.
For sure.
We got to get the fuck up out of here.
That's understandable, absolutely, because you want that revenue for the school. But it's like the ACC commissioner with that 2036 deal ain't gonna talk about that. All he's gonna talk about is our head-to-head against these schools. And if these schools don't do that, there ain't no money because he's gonna have to restructure that deal, which he's not, or he's gonna have to figure out a way to get us, you know.
Well, the ACC, if they want us to stay, I don't know if they could do this, but they need to explore more TV deals. I mean, you got Amazon out there, you got some of the other streaming platforms that's out there. Maybe you consider having a contract with ESPN as well as Amazon or as well as Netflix, somebody. That way you
Well,
can
that's the
get more
question.
money.
That's the question, Rich, and you probably know this. Can they do that? Like, are they contractually obligated to stick with whatever they got? You know what I'm saying?
Well, if they're obligated, then we have to figure something out about the teams, as like the individual team. Like you have the conference, which is one entity, and those will always be shown, where they need to be shown with their contract. But as an individual team, can we do like Notre Dame and go get a contract with Amazon? That
Real
way we
quick,
could be
real,
streamed
real quick, live,
everywhere.
live, live from apparently Shamar Stewart's closet, the one and only.
Ah, Mo Streeter. Mo
Oh,
Streeter.
Streeter, what's up?
You was
I saw
close.
this, I saw this man in the back with that. I said, "What is this man doing today, man? He woke up and chose violence." I see, man.
Live from Shamar Stewart. That's a good one, dog. Now listen, man. So Coley wanted a Footballville hoodie, right? You know what I'm saying? Assistant officer coordinator at Texas A&M. He wanted a Footballville hoodie, and he sent me this, and I sent him a Footballville hoodie. One for Amari and one
James
for
Carlin?
James Coley, yeah.
Oh,
Shamar.
that's what's up.
But when I got it, I was like, yeah, I got it. Then I was like, when am I gonna wear this? You know what I'm saying? Like, where am I wearing this to? You know what I'm saying? But now that we don't put foot in ass, I can come on here and wear it. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? There's something to laugh about now. You feel me? But shout out to James Coley, man. I appreciate it, man. He wanted one of the Footballville hoodies with the Footballville man on it.
That's love. That's
Oh,
love.
that's
Yeah,
big
you
time.
need
That's
to,
big
Right
time.
out the gate
need to-
street. Right out the gate street.
What up? Does FSU still want UGA? Not with a hurt Travis. I think Travis got hurt yesterday, bro. I think he was playing hurt. But also, you heard what I said. When I said it, what did I say? If FSU could get Georgia, right? Exactly. This week, I pick FSU. Now, y'all always come behind. Y'all some money morning quarterback motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? As the season go, things are going to start looking different. Colorado are going to start looking like the Colorado we thought they would be. Like, we hope Miami don't start looking like the Miami we were. You know what I'm saying? Like, as the season goes, the stories change. I think Florida State is a very, very strong team. And to tell you, did you guys watch Georgia play?
Right.
Yeah, we were
I
talking
got to
about
take the
that.
halftime about that
Watch
game.
Georgia play. They were down at halftime.
Yeah, they were. They have no receivers. They got one receiver.
No, they have receivers. They are surprisingly, Georgia can't run the ball.
Until after halftime.
Yeah.
Look,
So
I'll defend what Streeter. I'll defend what Streeter said. He did say week one. You know what I'm saying? They would have played in week one. He would have put his money on Florida State. I 100% disagree with him on that, but that's what he said. I would think Florida State won't damn parts of Georgia at any time of the season. But that was what he said.
Georgia, and I watch a lot of Georgia because Carson Beck was one of our guys on the other side of the company. So I watched Georgia whole entire game. Georgia's struggling to run the ball. They struggling to run the ball. Arguably, it's like they don't have one of those guys back there that they've had in the past. And I think the one that they have is coming off of injury.
Yeah.
That's odd.
Quick question, Street.
Number
Take
30.
a wild guess. Take a wild guess. Who do you think what school do you think between Georgia and Miami got a running back in the top 40 in rushing yards?
I know it ain't Georgia.
Yeah, it's not. It's Miami. Harris is 40th in America with 192 yards. Yeah.
No, I know it's not Georgia.
Georgia
I often should be
Georgia's
top
not top
20 or
50.
top 10. I often should be top something in America.
Yeah, you missed that segment. If they were Restrepo by 1 yard.
No, yeah.
it's
I was listening.
Yeah, number 3 receiver in America.
We tweeted that last night.
Did we?
Yeah, I tweeted that. He's number 3 in America. And number 1 is the kid from Miami, Ohio. I think listen, I think all those things are something to be proud of. I think it's early. You know what I'm saying? I do. I also would like to see Restrepo's targets. Like Restrepo gets a high volume of targets too. I think he had Harrison by 5 or something like that. He had, you know what I'm saying? I've been talking to y'all about Restrepo for years. I don't know how to explain. Like I don't know how to explain. He plays football. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you a street. I ask Kyle, ask Rich. Is Restrepo the best receiver in the ACC?
That's in the ACC. Man, when you say best, man, like what does best mean?
I'm asking if he's the best. Some people say
he has the most yards, right? He has the most yards.
Yeah, he has the most yards. He has no touchdowns. I saw somebody. I responded to a comment I responded to a comment on his interview video. He was like, "Man, it's crazy. He lead the team in receiving yards and no touchdowns." I was like, "It's called being selfless." Maybe you should learn what that is. Like,
responding to the comment on what happened
on Xavier Restrepo's post-game interview, someone said it's ridiculous that he got the most receiving yards on the team, but he has no touchdowns. And I'm like, it's called being selfless.
Hmm.
He's a chess piece. Like I said, he's the same way I talk about James on defense and Akeem Mesidor. He's a chess piece. And you know, Kyle was talking about, oh well, you know, he's not getting doubled. I'm like, you don't double slot receivers. That's the chess piece. You can
they actually do. They get doubled. But see, what happens is it depends on what you're doing, right? You couldn't double Wes Welker often because of Randy Moss. You know what I'm saying? But you saw Julian Edelman get doubled. You saw him get doubled in Super Bowls because they know, okay, that's your attack point. We got to stop that. So it does happen, but Mehdi was correct. You don't do it often. You know what I'm saying? And some of your boundary corners, they don't travel. So you have those slot guys working one-on-one. But if a guy's if he's your number one, Pittsburgh used to do this with Antonio Brown. They would move him into the slot to get those matchups that Mehdi's talking about. But you still would double him. You still would bracket him. You know what I'm saying? So what's going to allow what's going to allow Restrepo to do what Restrepo does is because if you bracket anybody, you're going to bracket Kobe Young on the other side. You may pay extra attention to George, but you're going to leave Restrepo one-on-one all game. You know what I'm saying? And you're not going to, I don't want to get too deep in it because it sounds like I'm down in X, but I think Rich said it best. He's the most productive receiver in the ACC. Let's put it that way.
And
I don't think he is. Wait, Rich, I'm not going to let you dig a bigger hole.
Go ahead.
I don't think he is.
Go ahead, Mr. Texas A&M.
I don't think he is. I don't think he is. I mean, Louisville got a guy, Jamari Thrash, 14, 329, and 4 touchdowns.
Never heard.
How many catches X got?
Oh no, hey, yeah, Rich, he's like that. He's the entire offense.
17.
How many catches X got, Betty? 17.
Is he? 17.
Like that.
17. There's guy. There's
I mean, look at Larvin.
Well, can I say this though? But can I say this? Who is that? Who is that guy? When we just talk about productivity, who is that guy sharing balls with? Like X got to share balls with 2 guys that are probably better than he is, and he still got 17 catches. And you know what I mean? He's extremely productive. So I don't know.
He's from LaGrange, Georgia. Yeah, you're right. I don't know how to explain it. Like, okay, so even on the team, the best receiver we have, probably pure receiver we have, is probably Jacoby George, right? Kobe Young probably has the most upside. X is the most productive. Like he's the most productive. You know what I'm saying? And we try to put these things in lanes, right? And measure them. He's the most productive, and because of that, I bet you he has the most targets. But as far as talent wise, Jacoby
fairly even.
Huh?
They're actually fairly even. That's what impressed. Yeah, that's what impressed me about Tyler this year is that he's not just dependent on X. He's targeting everybody at a fairly even clip.
Man.
So is it you say fairly? X is in the lead though, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right.
But it's like 5 to 10 targets, between the 3 of them. It's like
right.
Lead. He just does more with the ball when he gets it in space. Does that make sense?
some of these guys on this list, bro, have 25 receptions, 27, 28 receptions. So I don't know how you gauge it. I know that I wouldn't trade Restrepo for a lot of guys. And it just goes back to the history of me watching him produce. That's it. The history of me watching him produce. And he makes it happen, bro. I mean, and
Does.
there's something in football called a football player, and that's what he is. He's a football player. Western Kentucky has a guy named Malachi Corley. He's a football player. Like, he's just a football player. Like, he produces on the football field. I think the same thing Brandon Ennis will end up being. Just a guy that he's going to just make it happen. Won't be the fastest. Won't be the strongest. He just makes it. He makes it happen.
But let me ask you this question, Street. You say that Brandon Ennis will be in the mold, or he can become in that mold of X.
Mm-hmm.
But why? So X was a 3-star, Ennis was a 5-star.
Mm-hmm.
Is it purely because Ennis was doing it since he was in 8th grade playing on a varsity team that he was a 5-star, or is it another intangible? Is it height? What is it that makes
Street, we just talked about
X a
this
3-star
on the phone like 2 days ago.
Right.
These two people.
Ennis a 5-star.
What is it that makes X a 3-star and Ennis a 5-star? First of all,
because they're gonna play the same role on the team.
Yeah, first of all, it's not coming from a computer. It's coming from a subjective platform of somebody who feels that this is what we think a 3-star is and a 5-star is. So when you start asking that question, you have to actually go like what made him give Duke his 5th star like late in his career when I saw it as a 9th grader. Like, he saw it as a sophomore, he was a 5-star. So that's their perception of how things is. Now, Brandon Ennis is bigger than X. Mm-hmm. He's larger than X, and he came up in a 7-on-7 climate to where you were able to see him.
Yeah.
They could see him up front. You know what I'm saying? They could see him every weekend somewhere playing against somebody at some big tournament, and they see that he can go from the offense to the defense.
Yeah.
I saw Brandon Ennis in Atlanta at Atlanta Stadium where the Falcons play championship, the damn 7-on-7 championship. They put him in on defense. They didn't start him because he wasn't supposed to play for that team. He came late for South Florida Express. He sat on the bench. He didn't give a fuck. They put him in a game. He produced. They put him in on defense at the end of the game. The first play they put him in on defense, he took the ball from the quarterback, gave his team the ball back.
Breaking news. The stats updated on NCAA. So X is not the number 3 receiver in America.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he's down to 16. But that the page didn't refresh till I was on here.
But he was last night. I mean, go to the Twitter. Yeah.
But
he was last night.
You know, still number 1.
Huh?
You know, still number 1.
Oh,
The kid from Miami of Ohio.
Laverdane, yeah. He got 449 receptions. 449 yards and 18 receptions and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, they just updated that.
Like
They just updated it. Huh?
Larverdale looks like Tank Dell.
Yeah, they just updated that, bro. Late 11 o'clock last night, I posted this same ESPN thing. X was number 3.
Yeah, it said it updated at 3:21, but it just didn't update on my computer, which is crazy because I just opened the website. But
and that's why the guy Jamari Trash is hired. That's how I saw that he was higher than him. From Louisville. He's the most productive, though. There's not too many football players I take over from. I mean, just put it that way, bro.
But y'all know the question about Ennis versus Restrepo is sometimes it's simple. We don't have to dig too much into it. Why one's a 5 and one's a 3. One can do more than the other. Like, they may have the same base. You know what I'm saying? They go out and they both football players, but one can simply do more than the other. Ennis can do a lot more than Restrepo can. It's kind of just that simple. And that's not a knock on Restrepo. We're built different. We're all, we're built different. We have different body types, different speeds, and it's just that simple. That's all.
No, it's
still
not
2 guys you want on your team.
But I guess so. When they see a guy like Kobe, right? Kobe Young, Kobe's 6'5", so they're automatically going to say, well, Kobe has more upside than the other receivers, right? Because he's 6'5". That's something you can't coach. Okay, they don't even the reason they do that though is because they're projecting him to the NFL. They're like, what do NFL receivers look like? And based on those measurables, right? They're saying he's a higher rated guy. Now, when we start talking about what you can do for a team, that's way different because we saw last night with Travis Hunter getting the wind knocked out of him. It's going to become a point where you're going to have to become a specialist at a certain position. We even seen it happen with Devin Hester because you're going to have to be counted on to make a difference at something. You're going to have to be a specialist. With Restrepo is always going to return kicks, always going to be on special teams, not only at the college level, but also in the NFL. He's also always going to be in the slot, not only in the college level, but in the NFL. Do we see, when we start to talk about all the things you can do for a team, when they make those comparisons, I don't think it would be Ennis would have to be just as good at Restrepo at fair catches as him in order to be utilized on special teams as he progresses in his career and as he goes to the next level. So that's all I'm saying. So measurables is one thing. You could gauge guys on measurables, but then what you actually do for a team, I think those are two different things. And that's where that eye test comes into play. Just like what Streeter mentioned about Duke. Man, Duke, to everybody in South Florida, Duke was a 5-star after 5 games his freshman year, right? Because we saw what he could do with the ball. Even though he didn't have the measurables, and that's why he wasn't a 5-star nationwide.
All right, let's transition real quick. We talk about, is X the best receiver in the ACC? Is Tyler Van Dyke the best quarterback in the ACC? I want to hear from you first, Kyle.
For me first, that's probably not a fair question for me to ask for me to answer because I don't watch every quarterback in the ACC. Like I don't, not that you guys do or have to, but I don't watch as much college football as you guys do. So I'm gonna bow out of this question. Let y'all go ahead, Rich.
No, he's not.
I would.
No,
I'm gonna say yes.
No, he's not. He's not.
But go ahead, Street.
Let them fight. Y'all fight. Medi, let them two fight. Go ahead. Clemson versus Texas A&M. Get to it.
I want to hear your.
I'm saying he is not because of talent. Once again, we talked about measurables. If we go by measurables, Drake May by far, right? He has all the tools. But I'm saying yes because of the offense he's in, who he's being coached by, and what they're having him do. I watched clips of Drake May because I was wondering, like, what was going on with the App State game? Why are they so close? So I went and I watched the highlights on both of those games, both the App State game as well as the one this past weekend. And I'm looking at Drake May and I'm like, he's starting to force a lot of balls where they should not be. And I don't know if it's his, like, they're telling him to do that or why they're putting him in that position. I'm like, you're going to cause him to have more turnovers. And when we play him, if he continues to do that same thing, when he starts to play teams that have really good defenses like ours, who have more talent at the defensive back position, he's going to throw a couple of picks. So I don't know if it's him or if it's
Rich. That pass
that happened last year.
He was when he was getting tackled and he threw that. I hate seeing it on the highlight reel every time they got to him and he somehow threw a touchdown in the red zone against us. But he did that again this weekend. He threw a deep back foot throw. Right. Terrible in the coverage, and the receiver just made a great play on the ball. The DB took a bad angle. He tackled him from what I thought was short, but I think they called it a touchdown. Like that feast or famine type mentality, against better teams. Y'all
don't remember that happened last year? We turned him over like 2, should have been 3 times before the half last year. So I'm not a perfect. Yeah, I'm not a believer in May like that. But go ahead, Street. I bet.
No, I think if we didn't have Tyler on video, like imploding, you know what I'm saying? If we didn't have that on video, then you'll have a better argument, Rich. You know what I'm saying? He still has a lot to prove. So I would have to. I mean, there's quarterbacks in the ACC that has more touchdowns than him. You know what I'm saying? I think he has the highest passer rating. But if we didn't have that on video, I think Tyler is still in prove us wrong mode. But what also can come out of this is that he can have a huge year, bro. Like he could really set this thing on fire, dog. If this keeps going how it's going, and he looks as comfortable as he looked. But right now, I mean, Georgia Tech quarterback Haynes King is balling. But I would have to still go with Drake May until I see Drake May the bottom fall out one day for him, or for a season, like because what I saw, you know what I'm saying, we've seen Tyler implode, and I just think he's still in prove me wrong mode.
Yeah. I get you. So you taking the same route that Medi takes with Colorado. You want to see him for a whole season, not just a couple games.
No, we've seen Tyler Van Dyke implode. I mean, we saw him, whether it was the OC, whether it was we've seen him at his worst. And he has to erase that film. So for that reason, I would say.
Street, I think probably not to us, but to the nation. I'm not going. It's a deeper conversation, but it's going to be easier to the nation for him to erase that stink because it's just so easy to just say Gaddis was shit, and they just go. Right. That's going to be it. That's going to be so it. And to us it's different, but we can move on from that though. Medi, you got something to finish off with?
Yeah, man. Coach A said a football mama taught Drake me how to read defense. But yeah, y'all know me. I'm impressed so far, but once again, I don't care about what you do. You could be the all-time passing leader. If you don't beat Florida State, I have nothing to say to you. That is it. Like I really don't care about anything else. Don't beat Florida State. We ain't talking, especially how Florida State look with their quarterback. Because I guarantee if I look at these stats right now, Jordan Travis isn't top 20. Shout out to Connor Weigman. He's actually ahead of TVD now.
Who?
Connor Weigman's number 14 in passing yardage.
Listen, I like that kid. If Texas A&M implodes and they got to start over, we need to holler at this kid about the transfer portal next year. I like that. That kid's a gamer. I like him a lot.
Jordan Travis barely made top 50 in passing yardage.
Did he?
Yeah, he's at 48.
Somebody in the chat said Gaddis didn't have the O-line that we have this year. Would that have made a difference for Gaddis in terms of his?
Yeah, I think so. But he still was just was a bad fit. I think it would have helped his offense a lot, but he was just a terrible fit.
Where's this? 2 up here? Oh shit! Guess who's sneaking in top 20 under Josh Gaddis, man? little to a little homie, man. To a little brother, man. 889 passing yards. He ahead of Caleb Williams. And he's right under Dylan Gabriel and Connor Weigman. He's 2 yards behind Drake May in passing yardage.
Yeah, he was the one who said he said that somebody wanted to pay him $1.5 million to transfer. Talia.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, you think he really liked that?
I'm just saying stats for 3 weeks. He's right under Drake May by 2 yards. He's ahead of Caleb Williams. He's ahead of.
Like I say, it's hard to look at all that stuff right now. If you wait till 6 and 7, yeah, but right now it's because think about it, TVD could be number 1 or number 2, 3, 4 in the nation if he plays the second half against Bethune. You know what I'm saying? It's
for sure. That's
we'll
why I
wait
said
it out.
week 4 is where college football starts. I've said this and I will die on this hill. I've been saying this for at least the last 10 years. Ranking shouldn't be happening until week 4, in my opinion. And I also believe that the AP should not be making rankings. The AP, back when it was doing shit in newspapers, yes. Now when everybody does everything for likes and clicks and all that crap, like this is where you see a lot of that preseason hype and why these teams be looking so bad. It's because the AP puts out these narratives about teams hoping that it'll stick. And when it doesn't, they just shift focus. You don't think we don't get into this in a second. You don't think the media is salivating, for Deion to fail, to lose that first game?
They waiting.
Watch how they pile that shit on if he doesn't beat Oregon.
He's not.
You think so?
That's not. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You think so?
Absolutely.
I think business. I think when you say the media, I think the people that run it want to do whatever makes money. Now maybe a guy sitting in the conference room interviewing him may want him to lose, but I think the powers that be, whatever makes money, whether it's Sexy Red talking about my booty hole or whatever makes money, I think that's where they want to be at.
Bro, why was this broad down the street from my house doing that music video? I was like, oh my god.
For real?
She was down at the flea. Fort Lauderdale. She was at the flea market. Did a video like last week or something. I was just like, oh my god.
Did you see the lady? Did you see the girl who says she's a plant? Like basically, like listen, black women don't identify with her. Y'all don't went too far. Yeah, y'all don't went too far.
You said the same thing about Ice Spice, but we ain't going there. This is random, but let's talk about it real quick. We already talked about Gage, number 1 receiver in America. Is that? And you missed this portion of the chat or the conversation streak, but we can kind of tie it together.
Hold on, wait. We gotta stop. Ellen V said she was at the video shoot. Ellen, what's going on?
You had a bulletproof vest.
Ellen, that's terrible.
Ellen was out there twerking, boy.
Hey.
Oh my God, Ellen. Those Hayes, what's going? Where Hayes at, man? Come on, now. Y'all gotta have a sit down. They had a who?
They started shooting, right? Somebody got shot close by.
I don't know about that. I mean,
they started. Yeah, somebody got shot close by. Yeah, somebody. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. It was cleared up by the time I got home. So.
She's from St. Louis.
I don't know what's starting to. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what's starting to pop down here because now you got what's the girl? Jocelyn made that Lauderdale whole song. Now she down here at the flea market. I'm like, hold on, y'all leave our city alone. We don't come on now, don't do that. We got enough ratchet girls as it is. We don't need to bring all that down here. Please don't do that. Don't start opening it. Cardi B was on live talking about Lauderdale hoe. I'm like, oh, have mercy. Come on, man.
Really? He used to be Dade.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
2 people got shot, 1 died. Oh wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know, bro. I think it's whoever the industry put in front of us is who our kids inspired to be for the most part. You know what I'm saying?
People got mad at Kanye with
right. So pay attention. Pay attention to how we are being perceived. You know what I'm saying, and how others get projected into the industry and what they look like. It's like somebody said, man. It looks like they're finding the worst of dark people and putting them on platforms.
Yes.
It looks like they find the worst example of somebody black and give them a platform.
Man, you got to be smart enough to flip it. Just like in the movie Who Cloned Tyrone, you got to be smart enough to realize how media can control your narrative and do like a Deion is doing, where not only are you are you having a game featuring because first and foremost, and maybe I should touch base on this later because we're going to talk about Colorado anyway, or maybe I could transition into this into Colorado. But I mean, what Deion is doing, the way that he hyped up that hot dog water rivalry, and the way the other coach kind of smelled what he was, you know what I'm saying? They was on code, as we call it, and called him out and said, my mama taught me to take my shades off and my hat off when I'm talking to folk. And that's
straight rich and street of fashion. They here with the hats and the shades on.
So everybody on the panel, yeah, I be cussing a lot, but y'all see who was raised right. I ain't got no shades and hat on talking to grown folks. So just saying.
But the neat thing about that is he controlled the whole narrative. It reminded me of Floyd Mayweather. It reminded me of something that Mayweather would do. Control the narrative from pre-fight all the way to the post-game interview, and control all the dollars in between that time frame. And when you do stuff like that, and you make that whole city money, you make that university money the way you did, where nosebleed seats are $500 and some odd dollars for a Colorado game. He showed you that it's not about wins and losses. He showed you that if you could control your own narrative as black people in media, you don't have to be nobody's fool. You don't have to be nobody's clown. So it was dope.
Did y'all hear the story that the shades that he got The Rock to wear? First of all, shout out to The Rock on game day. Deion on his knees praising him as a Seminole should. That's for another day. But nah, and then the shades that The Rock put on, he just signed it. I think they're called blenders. He signed a deal with them. He gave the entire team the shades. He gave some to The Rock. That company wanted to sell $1.2 million in sales, like in the 24 hours from when that viral clip happened. After Buddy said what he said. So yeah, I agree with Rich, man. He's figuring out how to tailor things not only around the school and bringing attention to the school, but still using that business acumen to get the right people in the right places and generate revenue, man. Same thing with I've been watching Travis Hunter got one of them stupid ass couple channels that I hate. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yep.
And I seen him, and he took Destroying to the same recovery place. I know they cut Travis a check.
Yep. Believe
And
that.
the fact that he got hurt too is probably going to generate even more revenue for that company because they're going to be saying, "Hey, where is this guy? Like, is he going to go back to these people?" Blah blah. They got a sign posted up when he comes in for him and the girlfriend. And I'm like, man, this is the part of NIL that I appreciate, right? Instead of these kids getting exploited by these businesses and the kid not getting anything. At least the kid can figure out a way to maneuver their brands to get the type of revenue that they should be getting for what they do on the field. So
it's NIL, right?
I mean, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming it has to be. It would be
that's what it looked like to me because I watched that the other day actually. I mean, yeah, basically
I'm online right now.
NIL is supposed to be.
I'm trying to pre-order me a pair of blenders right now.
They cool.
Hey, let me hit.
I like those frameless. Yeah, I like those joints.
Let me hit that comment what Daryl just said. He says everybody can't do what Deion's doing. You can't name another coach that can make these moves. I agree and I disagree. Everybody can do what Deion's doing. You just can't do it the way Deion is doing it because it's Deion. It's his own flash. It's his own style, right? But everything he's doing is everything that the University of Miami was about. It just takes a certain type of person or a certain type of coach to embrace it and take it further. Deion, being prime time, is able to do that. A lot of other coaches would be scared. A lot of other coaches wouldn't want to do that. But this is the culture that everything he's doing should have been embraced a long time ago. Because these are our kids that is making, or anywhere, honestly, but especially Miami. These are our kids that's making college football. So why are we not placating to what they like? Why are we not catering to them? Why are we still sticking them into these old, stuffy colleges? You know what I'm saying? With all these old boosters from the 50s and making them conform to what they like at at their colleges.
Right.
Offset was like, man, it's wild. Offset say, man, they got a DJ in the locker room playing this da 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 da. That man was like, man, it's something I ain't never seen before. Why hasn't that been done? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's like Mario saying I gotta put a playground at McDonald's, but if McDonald's wants to serve kids and families, why wouldn't they put a playground in McDonald's? So if I'm going to get all these 19 to 20-year-old black kids and even the white kids, you know what I'm saying? We're more level now than we were in the 80s where, we was listening to rap and they may be listening to rock and roll or pop. No, we kind of all listen to the same thing. More of us listen to what they like and vice versa. Why wouldn't you placate to that? Because this is a game for 18 to 22, or in our cases, 28-year-old men. You know what I'm saying? We got a 28-year-old, I think. But why wouldn't you do that? You know what I'm saying? So it's not that coaches couldn't do that. They just were either scared or the programs won't allow it. But Colorado, like, man, we ain't got nothing to lose. This is money time. Let's talk money. Deion came in there talking money. They talked money with him, and now they got rewarded handsomely. So you're gonna see somebody else come along and try to and let this happen. It's not gonna happen overnight, but there's gonna be another school that comes along and tries to let this happen. So I agree and disagree with what he was saying.
It's kind of like what we went in and talked to Mario about, right? We wanted to be the voice of the community because we were telling him, hey man, we could speak to the community better, you know what I'm saying, than the program speaks to the community because you guys speak to it from a cookie cutter type of ordeal. Yeah, from a corporate standpoint. It's the same thing we were pitching to him. So get behind us, back us, and let us speak to the community. And because you're right, Cal, doesn't it look obvious why you would come out with Lil Wayne? Lil Wayne bring your team out on the field. It's obvious why you got Offset on the sideline. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's obvious because the kids want to be around Lil Wayne and Offset.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, they don't understand it on that level. They don't. They're used to having control and saying, hey, we're the big dog. We're coming to your city to recruit your son, and then your son come. Well, now they're going to have to deal with something else. Mm-hmm. Somebody who understands the culture and the kids and what the kids want to be around. Most of them. Some of them may look at it like a party. Like, man, I ain't going to school to party. Some of them may look at it like that. But it's obvious, you know what I'm saying? It's obvious. And this is what we try to pitch to the University of Miami. Like, listen, bro, I mean, I think y'all need to talk in the language of the community and look like something in the community, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. To actually relate to them.
Yeah. Cool. We got Major 9.
I wouldn't be surprised, bro. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if Deion is calling these coaches and saying, "Hey, bro, listen, we finna make the Pac-12 hot. We're gonna make this game hot.
No, not the Pac-12.
When you talk to the media, tell the media, say something about my shades. I wouldn't be surprised if that goes, because the question is, why do coaches keep saying something about Prime? This goes back to Jackson State. Remember that coach said something about him?
Yep, me and Richard talking about
and
this.
I think that was from the heart, though. I think that was from the heart.
Why do they keep entering into this duel? What it is the 50 Cent method of marketing. It looks like it to me.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like now we up 1:00 in the morning watching fucking Colorado State, which motherfuckers didn't know what color they was probably.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you discovered that they got two ballers. They got a defensive end that's a monster, and they got a wide receiver who look goddamn unstoppable out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How does that happen? Because Deion forced us into watching that game.
Yeah, and Colorado State, for them, they're gonna have kids who now that 3-star kid coming out of Miami gonna be like, Yeah, you was the one who went head to head with Prime. Yeah, let me go ahead and play wideout for you. Let me go ahead and play running back. Let me go ahead and play DN. That's gonna happen.
Everything is, bro. Listen, man. Whether y'all believe it or not, man, the TV raises our kids. Now it's the self. Everything is marketing and what you see, dog. Before Prime, before all of this, the way I would teach you football coaches how to start a traveling team. This is how we'll teach them. Hey, listen, you want to start a traveling team? Go get an Instagram. Get you a cameraman and show your team having fun. Right? Travel a little bit outside the city. Show your team having fun, whether you lose or not. Show your team having fun. And then the next year, all the mamas going to want their kids to play for your team. That's how I would teach how to build a travel team. I told Shamina, sat down with Shamina coach, and I told him, listen, you want to look bigger than St. Thomas? Get you a camera. And does Shamina look bigger than St. Thomas? It does.
It does.
Yeah. Let me give y'all a quick example.
Shout out to Coach Harry, because they doing their thing over there. I mean, to some extent. But we gotta talk about Edison at some point too. But yeah, like you can see the difference. Yeah, they are ESPN's on TV, but Sham and I, we talk about them more. So that's a fair point. But go ahead, Kyle.
No, real quick, let me give y'all an example. Like for people that's still out there, like I see some comments that don't understand it. Think about it like this. You remember when Madden started coming out with just more than just you being able to play football. You could build a stadium, you can add this to your stadium, you can check. How many of y'all took the time to actually go and do that? I'm sure everybody did when you're doing your franchise mode, right? And the same thing when you and when you got guys, you would move them around to different positions. You would start creating your own playbook and all that kind of stuff. It's more than just football. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys took the time to do that out of your day on a freaking video game. So don't you think that these things are relative when it comes to real life? Like you guys are playing a video game and you're building a stadium and putting this in and then that in it and da wasting your precious time. You don't think that matters in real life too? How are we going to build this? How are we going to attract fans? How are we going to... Y'all trying to please people that... There is no fans in Madden. Why are you raising and lowering the hot dog prices? Why are you putting the Jumbotron? There's no fans in Madden, but you took the time to do it. So in real life, it actually matters that we have a DJ booth that LSU goes and they have this awesome, locker room, and UM is redoing all that stuff matters. Deion just took it to the next level, and there's no reason nobody else should have done it before Deion. Besides the fact of who's in charge, it always comes down to that. You got these old stiff people in charge that want tradition and shit. And anyway, my bad.
The blue bloods. The blue blood.
Yeah, thank you.
I think the Hurricanes of the past kind of showed it. The Hurricanes, I think he's doing what the Hurricanes of the past was.
I've heard that.
And using Hurricanes to do it.
I've heard that at least 20 times on the timeline and people talking about it since yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe it has some truth. I haven't necessarily agree with it, but I get it. Where he's talking about swagger and bringing out and the chains and the doing all this stuff. That's always been
all our shit, man.
Yeah, but Deion as itself, because Deion's kind of always sold himself, even at FSU, as a brand, right? The way he showed up to the draft, the way he showed up, the multiple sports he played, it was always something that he did. But I get it. I don't know if he was quietly. He never beat Miami, but I don't know if he was quietly like,
if I was
that Hurricane inside.
Yeah, like
I think he was.
And now he has the opportunity to kind of spread it to a place that traditionally didn't have it. It's just like Miami, but
he's from Fort Myers.
Who did he hang with when he? Yeah, who did he hang with? You saw him with your Michael Irvins. That's who you saw him with in the offseason. You didn't see him, right? But I mean, just even when he was a player, when you saw Deion with other players, who were they? Some Dallas Cowboys that was from Florida, some Miami Hurricanes. You did not see him embracing Peter Warricks and all these. Not that he didn't, but I'm just saying you didn't see him with a whole bunch of Florida State guys. I always say he should have been a Miami player. And I think he, like Streeter say, he's from Fort Myers. Of course, he relates to that. Yeah, he relates to that swag. Yeah. He relates to all that stuff, man. It's just
I'm sure they look up to it. A lot of times the cities outside of Miami kind of look up to what happens in Miami. And I'm sure being from Fort Myers, he he actually looked. He looked at it like, man, the boys in Miami having fun, they balling. I was, you know what I'm saying? He probably did wish he was down there.
Man, let me make something outstandingly clear. All right, I'm not gonna play the music. I was about to go on a rant, but I'm gonna chill. If you have actually traveled outside of Miami, I'm talking about lived and been in other places. The first thing I said, my first duty station was MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida. When I got there, I got there in 2008, December 2008. When I got there in 2008, boys was just juking and bopping in Tampa. I said, this place feels like it's 10 years behind Miami. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much anywhere else I've been in Florida. Yeah, it seems like Miami said that's why you hear people come on. It's like I'm not from Florida. I'm from Miami. It's because it's a trendsetter. The city itself, it creates this allure almost where you see somebody like you're not gonna tell me that Cormani wasn't legitimately like anticipating coming to Miami, because if you see where he's from, you can see there's a big difference. It's a huge difference, right? So a lot of those kids from those places, they want to stay in the state. They want to be close enough for their families to see, but they're not going to get that same feel somewhere. They're not going to get it at Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Georgia boys are going to get that at Georgia. The difference between Athens and, Warner Robins, right? Whereas in Florida, in Miami specifically, it's going to get you a vibe that you're not necessarily going to, so... But let's change topics, man. Shout out to Florida, man. Shout out to the crib. I was gonna actually we'll pass. I ain't worried about. Let's talk about ACC versus other conferences. Are we? Is this conference legitimate this year?
Yes.
Explain, Rich.
It goes back to what you was talking about when it comes to NIL and parity. So we even seen it in the conference, because you have coaches who kind of figured the NIL thing out and they're implementing it. You look at Duke. Duke has outblades up there. They got guys from different schools. You got UNC with Drake May and them being always consistent. That's a consistent program. NC State is consistent. And that's one. NC State is almost a sleeper. We don't even talk about them and how they're taking leaps in terms of talent and getting better every year. But the biggest headline for the ACC is the ACC has to remain top heavy. Miami's got to come to the dance every year, ready to ball out. So does FSU. I love it when those two teams are on top, and so does Clemson. And Clemson has to, because they've been carrying the ACC the past 5 to 10 years. So they got to continue to come to the dance as well. And if those three teams continue to be top heavy, UNC, NC State, Duke, they fill out that middle tier. I feel like just those 6 teams alone, you could really match them up against the Big Ten teams. You can match them up against the SEC teams, and you'll get some wins out of it.
I think it's like okay. So to answer the general question, I got to see more, because we have teams that let's look at Duke. Duke ain't never been shit, so we got to wait to see if this is real. Miami, yeah, y'all, we know our past and our history and stuff, so we got to see if this is gonna be real. Florida State, I don't believe in them anyway. So we still got to see. Like last year, who did they beat last year? They beat LSU. That's your game. You know what I'm saying? And they beat them again. That's your game. That's it. So we got to see if that's real. So I can't answer that question till, again, we talking about week 6 or week 7. But 2 things I wanted to address. Like we talking about Clemson. This whole conversation that we just had and what we're having right now, Dabo is doing the opposite. And I think that's what's going to make Clemson spiral down. Sorry, Rich. I know you probably don't want to hear that. I'm not hating, brother. So I don't need you to send me no nasty DM or nothing like that. But I'm just saying, I think that's what's gonna street you. Like, you remember the video with the white dude or whatever, talk about Dabo's players and stand. Listen, I think that's what's gonna happen. I think Dabo with this whole 2-parent household, Christian family, blah blah blah. Yeah, I think it's gonna bite him in the butt. No NI, yeah, it's gonna bite him in the butt. And I think they're gonna spiral down. And I think it only takes for Clemson to have a year or 2 of an off year, not by their standards, but just like period of an off year, for that shit to crumble because they have no recruiting base. If Clemson's not winning, how are they going to get kids? They don't have a recruiting base. We have a recruiting base. Like, we've been garbage for 20 years. We got a recruiting base. So we're still putting guys in the league. So I think that's going to make Clemson go down. Also with that, I said this a couple of years ago. The same thing I just said, I said it a couple of years ago. And I'm going to say this about the SEC too. When I look at Bama, y'all remember when Nick Saban went on that rant about NIL and all that stuff he was talking? Street, I told you that I think that he was preparing his exit when he gave that speech. He's already coming up with the excuse. So when they start losing, he can say NIL messed up the game and he can bow out gracefully. I'm going to go back and find that show. But I said that, and I think that's what's happening. I think it's going to, because NIL is making the playing field a little bit more level. And I think he was making that rant to just to complain about NIL because he knows Alabama's not going to be able to keep up and hog all the talent anymore. So I think he was already making himself a soft landing spot. But like I said, to answer that question, give me week 6 or 7. It's too many teams that have faked the funk for too long. I got to see if it's real first. So.
Yeah. No, I think I think the teams look the same. The games start at the same time. College game, they look the same. College looks the same, right? But what's going on behind, though, NIL has added something to college football that has never been here before. And we've talked about from day one, when we were back at Lorna, we talked about that it was going to add parity. You know what I'm saying? You get a Naquan right? Now it's at USF. Goes viral for running Alabama's linebacker over. Well, Naquan Wright had a LSU offer in the 8th grade. You know what I'm saying? But these guys are getting moved around college football, and it's creating some parity. Also, what is money doing to some of these kids and their focus? Like, some of them will be able to deal with it, but some of them may have gambling problems. So now you back there
at safety. You got on.
You back there
that hoodie you got on?
Hey,
that hoodie you got on? That's what you talking about right now.
Street, did Mims play yesterday?
He got hurt. Mims from Georgia?
Yeah. Did he?
Yeah, he got hurt. And he ended up being on the sideline.
He got hurt, he got injured.
I don't know.
I think I'm trying to connect the dots here with your point.
He's built like that. If somebody would, he would. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to believe that it's changing the way coaches have to coach. Some of these kids are rich. I'm around these kids, man. Some of these kids got a lot of money. So
Street,
it's going to shake itself out, and the ones that really want the ball, that are really focused, are going to be the ones. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not going to act like there's kids across the country that's playing sports that are rich. It's just new here. We're going to have to adapt. The coaching staff is going to have to adapt. The way they approach the game is going to have to adapt. But
right.
we're never going to watch the same game again. I don't think.
No,
I don't think so. I don't think
it
will ever look the same. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna interject to add to your point. Someone in the comments said some players may have to settle for NIL money and not be motivated to reach the NFL. And I'm gonna piggyback on that as well, because this is what I was saying a couple months ago about running backs. If you are a 4 or 5 star running back, I don't care that Alabama needs a running back. I don't care that Ohio State needs a running back. I'm like, bruh, I need 1.5 a year. Who gonna give me that? Arizona State? God, I'm gonna ask them.
I'm gone. Right.
I'm gone. Because if you see what they're paying running backs in the league, I'm not trying to look. I can get paid right now.
You ain't even trying to get there, huh? You ain't even trying to get there, huh?
No. If I can make $20 million playing college football, I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
Real quick, Rich. Ellen asked a great question. Is there any financial management courses? There's a reason why IOD was created.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and talk about that, Streeter.
No. I think that I know Miami had Vilma coming through talking to the kids about financial literacy and things of that nature.
I give Mario credit too, because Mario, I think he actually had like the week before it went live in July, he actually had people come out and talk to him about that. But
no, that is why I created Investor Die. That's where the whole concept came from. Investor Die, because I realized that once the kids were making it, they didn't know what to do with money. And then you figure out how to save money, and then you still don't know where to put money to make it grow. And then you just eventually end up spending it. You know what I'm saying? So now that problem is in college football. Some of these kids, again, $20,000 a month, $30,000 a month, $40,000 a month in college football. And where to put the money? It's still the same problem. Now you're just giving it to younger kids. So yeah, that is why I created Investor Die. And on the Morning Breakfast Show, we're gonna always talk about like finances and stuff and investing, and because it's a part of my life, my everyday life. It's part of Cal everyday life. I think we took a week off or something like that. Investing in the stock market and crypto and now marijuana. It's going to be huge. It's about to be huge. Marijuana is about to be huge. So the financial literacy part of it is, and there's a few kids I talked to about the stuff. But if you guys ain't here, you want to get involved in Investor Die, just text 786-459-9499. And I'm gonna try to give you guys like something to do every time I talk about investing. Like right now, I think Apple's at a great price to buy at like 172.
Yes. Oh, it went to 172.
Yeah, I think it's like 172.
I gotta get that. I think
Apple is at a great price, a great price to buy. And when I say to buy, I mean, no, right now it's at 175. It dipped down to 173, and right now it's at 175. But I think it's at a great price to buy. And when I say a great price to buy, I don't mean it's going to make you rich tomorrow. What I mean is Apple is something that you just keep buying for years and years and years. I think it's up 30% in the last 5 years overall. So you just buy it. You just keep buying it. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it goes down, and as it go up, your money will accumulate through interest. But I think it's at a great price. You know, a lot of when people bought Dogecoin, when Elon Musk went on Saturday Night Live and people bought Dogecoin, right? And everybody money went down.
Dogecoin, not Dogecoin. Dogecoin.
Okay, Dogecoin from the guy from Dakota. Everybody can relate to that, right? Like everybody money went down, right? I'm simple. Everybody money went down because you brought it at the top. So right now, what I'm saying, what Apple is that Apple's at a support. It's at the bottom. If you buy things at the right time, your money will never go red because the stock will go up. So there's a quick lesson. So everybody brought Dogecoin at the top. Y'all saw the commercial I made. Everybody brought Dogecoin at the top because they thought it was going to keep going up, but it actually was peaked out because it has to go up and then back down. And then, you know what I'm saying? And it came back down. Did you see it? At that point, you just got to wait.
Did you see it's a movie? It's a movie coming out about the GameStop stock and the people.
I saw that. I saw that. Yeah, it is. Yeah. I'm gonna watch that, man. I saw it.
Check it out too. Check it out. So that movie is another money grab. Don't get this confused. GameStop was great. Now you had a collective of folks put a movie together in order to take advantage of another money grab, and that's how business works. And I want to give a personal testimony as well. I bought a house maybe 3 weeks ago now, and most, if not all, of my closing costs for my house was paid for by what I made investing in stocks. So I hope the IRS is not listening, but I'm sitting in a house today that I closed on, and the money that I even at the closing table, my realtor sitting across from me was like, "Yeah, man. So, man, I might have to look into how you be doing them stocks, man." Because I told him that was my strategy, and that's what happened. So I bought my house with money from the stock market. So invest or die. You know how to sign up. It's right at the bottom, 786-405-9499. Join us and continue to stack your chips up.
There it is. There it
That
is.
was worth it. That was worth it. But look, like you say, the numbers out there at the bottom, this stuff is real. I'm in IOD, but I also, I do my own thing or whatever. It's a part of my everyday life, my every minute life. That's what I go to sleep thinking about. That's what I wake up thinking about. And I want y'all to understand that the money is real. It's tangible money. People always say, well, what do you do when you make, what do you mean? It's your money. If you want to pull it out, you pull it out. It'll go straight to your account or whatever. Let me see. And I don't have a lot of money, but let me tell you something. I made Tuesday. I made $700 Tuesday. Then I made $600 Wednesday. Then I made, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, moment of transparency, I made $1,600 on Thursday, and I let it drop down to $600. So it's still a profit, but yeah, that was stupid. But I'm just letting y'all know the money is there. You know what I'm saying? You just have to get into it, learn a skill. And for those that don't have time, don't think you don't have time to learn a skill, that's the importance of IOD. Because IOD is simply telling you, hey, look, this is what we're going to invest in. Y'all can come along with us, and we're going to tell you when we're going to get in and when we're going to get out. So that way, if you don't have the time, you always working and yada, 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 you could just set it and just follow as opposed to learn. When you have the time, you take the time to learn. We have classes and all those type of things, but this stuff is real. The money is real. Yeah. It's a very tangible thing for you guys can access.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all can see this, right? Okay, so look, I don't do this often. I don't know if y'all can see this. These are all withdrawals. And if y'all can't see them, I'll just put them up there. These are all withdrawals from the last couple of months from money that I. Those are all withdrawals. But a few deposits that you saw say deposit, but those are all withdrawals. Like, because some people do think that, yeah, well, once you make the money, can you touch it? It's your money. The only reason you ask that question is because school didn't teach us that money made money, and you didn't. So you don't feel like you didn't dig no ditch, you ain't arrest nobody, you ain't flip no burger, you ain't do nothing. So internally you feel like you shouldn't have the money because you didn't work to get it. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems like it came too easy. But just always think about the person that owns the building that you work in. They don't show up in that building to work to make money. The building pays them. They don't show up, they don't mop no floors, they don't come pressure wash no driveways, they don't come sit down with no clients. Their money make money. I mean, that's a simple way to put it.
Look, let me address LNV real quick. Nah, real quick. Ellen, I would shoot you some money, but I can't give you money and you finna go down there and buy a sexy red CD at the flea market. I'm not doing that. I can't. You know. If you tell me you got other plans, cool, but I just can't. I can't do that.
Yeah.
All right. So
what is this music? What is that? That's like what is this music?
Hey, man, sneak do it for the Ville. What you mean?
I'm saying, what is that? When does the music come on? What cues the music?
Oh, on the side, in the brand. oh, if you about to cook, you about to do your thing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I got you.
I'll put the back.
Bro,
do your thing, man.
Matty a real DJ, bro. Matty know when it's time. Matty's a real DJ, bro. Don't get it twisted now.
Exactly. But now, real quick, let's look into before we get up out of here, because I know y'all got college. Well, Kyle don't, but everybody else got NFL football to watch. Lamar better do something today. I'm on his head. Anyway, pause. Let's talk about Temple coming up this week. Like, once again, should be a fairly easy game. I'm not sleeping on it, right? But it's strategically placed, in my opinion, in a place where you get a bye week immediately after. Then you get Georgia Tech, which is a very smooth transition. But like Streeter said earlier, Haynes King has been getting confident. He's taking the reins at Georgia Tech as a starting quarterback. He absolutely shit the bed against Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin. but that doesn't mean he's going to do it against us. But that's in 3 weeks from now. Let's talk about Temple. Temple, I think, are coming off of a loss. Don't quote me.
They beat Norfolk State. They beat Akron. They lost to Rutgers, 36-7.
Okay, the Fighting Greg Schianos.
Yeah. We got our guy Alan Hay over there. That's what I think Alan Hay over there getting some playing time.
Yeah, he is. Manny Navarro put out that article. Alan Hay actually is one of the 8 out of the 24 guys that left that actually seen starter snaps. There's only 4 that are full-time starters. I'm pretty sure Alan Hay is one of them. So
I don't know. I don't know. You look at their passing leaders and team leaders. Their quarterback had like 760 yards passing so far
this year.
The leading rusher has 187 yards. I don't know. Maybe they didn't pay offense that much this year yet. I don't know. What's going on? What's going on?
Granted, like I said, it has been against Norfolk State, which is the HBCU. Shout out to the HBCUs. And the other school, I forgot what you said.
Norfolk State, they lost to Rutgers. And they also beat another school, House of the Blind, Akron.
Akron is actually one of them schools.
They beat them by 3.
Yes, a surprising disappointment this year. They're usually steady in their conference, but I think they're MAC school, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, they've been terrible last couple of weeks. I think they lost to a team they shouldn't have yesterday. Don't quote me, I'm not an Akron fan, but
Chris said they haven't opened up the playbook yet. They waiting for us.
Let's see.
Not even in a loss, they kept the playbook closed.
They waiting for us, man.
Yeah, okay.
That's insane. It is their first road test. Obviously, we've done our job at home, 3-0 at home, but we have to take them in consideration. I'm not saying it's a trap game just because there's too much space in between, but it's something you got to be definitely focused on. Still expecting Ken to be out. Still expecting Branson as well as Akeem Messidor to be out. So a lot of those.
Fletcher will return. We talked to Fletcher's family. Fletcher should be back. He had a concussion.
Shout out to him.
I think his head hit the ground when he got tackled, so he'll be back.
Okay. I don't.
Is Chris Young playing? Is Chris Young bullshitting, man? Do you see that?
What?
Is Chris Young bullshitting?
What you mean?
Lingard?
Look at what yeah.
Yeah,
I think he does play for Akron. No, I think that's not bullshit.
This man is still in college?
Yeah, he is. He's on his. I think he's for Pittsburgh.
Wow. I ain't hating or nothing. I didn't believe it. Guys, hey, go ahead, young man. Do your thing. Wow.
He plays for Akron?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that boy had gave up football.
He starts for him too.
Yeah.
If he don't, he might as well quit.
He got 78 rushing yards this year, and he got 139 receiving yards.
Mm-hmm. He's their leading rusher and leading receiver.
DJ Irons is the quarterback. Why does that name sound familiar?
For who?
That sounds familiar. It does. DJ Irons.
DJ Irons. That's Akron's quarterback.
That sounds familiar. Does he have a brother or something?
Where's he been?
Let's see, coming out of high school.
DJ Irons. That does sound familiar.
He's from Loganville, Georgia.
Oh yeah, Kentucky kicked Akron to sleep yesterday.
Georgia. He played for Grayson. That's probably why.
Okay. I guess I'll give my comments on upcoming game. Because are we gonna do a preview for that game or are we gonna Bethune it?
Bethune it. Are we gonna Bethune it?
We'll see. We'll see. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, we will. No, we'll give him respect. We'll give him respect.
We'll do one.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. But I'll just say real quick
that we got to pay attention to for sure.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm gonna say this real quick about the next 2 games and the next 3 weeks in general. Everything that we do is a test. So right now, these next 2 games are a test. We can't let up against Temple. If we go out there and we score 30-something points and the game is 30-something to 10 or 14 or something, that's not good. You know what I'm saying? We got to go out there and we got to put our foot on everybody's neck. I don't want us to be loosening up and letting up. Georgia Tech can be an absolute trap game. And that's the thing. We have not been good off the bye week in a very long time. So that's an important game, in you know what I'm saying. And we're still trying to turn the culture around. So these next two games are important. How we play these teams, how we beat these teams. I'm not gonna say if we beat these teams. No, how we beat these teams. We have to beat these teams. We have to like kick the hell out of them. So these next 3 weeks are extremely important. Coming off the bye week, guys getting healthy. We can't just go out there and just show up. We got to go out there and show out. So that's just my opinion on the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. We're not good yet. You know what I'm saying? Like we see potential. Like we've been bad for a long time. But I understand how it feels as a fan when you see your team um, heading in the right direction and it feel like we back. Um, the football season is a long season. And to be great, though, you have to endure a lot of different things. You have to endure guys having success. You have to endure what's going on behind the scenes. You have to endure a lot of things. So yeah, it's still in improvement mode for me. It just seems like we got the right two coordinators for the team, and we just only hope that they keep building on what we have.
These are the games in the past that we would, as fans, talk like, oh, this is an easy dub. But in the game, we would be up 14-10 late in the third quarter trying to figure like why we can't get anything done. And there's some guy who is the equivalent of 14 for Colorado State scoring all over us, and we can't figure it out. But yes, I think, like Street said, with these hiring of these coordinators who have not had an opportunity at the big boy level, they understand, and I think they've taught how to respect opponents, if that makes sense, because these are the guys they're accustomed to coaching and coaching against. Contrary to popular belief, when you get a bunch of guys who have for the last decade been only coaching Power 5 football at some place or various places, it becomes very easy to be like, man, don't worry about this. You're not as focused in your preparation. You're not looking at things as much. And the next thing you know, you got a situation that looks like Alabama and USF yesterday, where we in the fourth quarter, like, how is Alabama only up 10-3? And how can USF not score? Like, and it sounds crazy, but it's a method to the madness, right? When you get those guys, they get you to focus on the details. They get you to never overlook any opponent. Because if you do, you know what I'm saying, even in game one, I forgot Buddy's name, but whether TC like it or not, he gotta eat that fact that dude's number one receiver in the country because some of the stuff that he did to Corey Couch. It's the reality, right? So yeah, I think it's imperative that to have these guys look, and that's why I was about to be like, no, we ain't doing it but I'll do that, and then Temple will come in here and actually. Well, we'll go down up there and Temple actually, it get a little bit too cold and we didn't anticipate it. And they got a random, blizzard or cold chill. Next thing you know, all these guys are like, yeah, man, like they actually got our number late in this game. And then all the media heads start talking and shit like that. So definitely agree with Kyle, agree with Street. Right coordinators to focus on the right things. These tests are important. I'm not even saying you got to dominate these guys. You just gotta make sure that they don't have a reason to feel like they can still win the game, like a Boston College, like a USF, because that then gives other teams things to key in on when they play you. So things that we sitting here criticizing everybody else about, like look at Florida State, how they blew this, They gonna be watching that game too, like rubbing their hands together too, trying to see what they can question and nitpick to make
doing the bird, man.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you're absolutely right, Kyle.
This year is the year of one game at a time, like really embracing that motto, because you can mess around and have the wrong approach to each game and look lackluster like Florida State did yesterday, or you can have the right type of focus and intensity for each game and dominate each game. And then next thing you know, Not saying that Miami's going to be in the playoffs. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is, if Miami wins one game at a time, not saying that nobody's not good on their schedule. I am not saying that. I don't want to be that guy, right? But if they beat a NC State, if they somehow beat a UNC, they somehow beat Clemson, they beat Georgia Tech, they beat Florida State, you will find yourself in rare air, right? You'll find yourself as one of those teams that remain focused throughout the whole year to get to where you need to go to play for championships. Not saying that we're going to do it, but what I'm saying is this is the year where we're seeing a lot of teams lose focus. We've seen it early because of hype, because of NIL, because of all that other stuff. So if that staff is able to keep those kids focused game after game for the next 10 weeks, I like our chances to end up in the ACC championship game based on what we've seen so far, the small sample size we got. And then we'll see what happens from there.
And some of you guys are hilarious, bro. Hey, no, some of you guys are hilarious. That man Darryl Page said, "Don't sleep on Temple. They may have 31-year-old transfers." Like, bro. Man, some of y'all is hilarious, bro.
But yeah, last thing we'll end it off here, man. Let's talk about the Colorado. So we touched about it a little bit. Let's talk about this Colorado Civil War, man. That game. I saw a street put out. He said, "Hey, it was Shadeur's play, Heisman moment." Rich, actually, KB, you being an offensive guy, let me know. And I'm talking about that specifically, the 98-yard drive and the 2-point conversion to tie the game. Not even the stuff to win the game. Just, I hear it all the time. And I hear it with particular calibers of quarterbacks. But when I seen Streeter put this out, I put in the group chat and he tweeted it out. He said, Heisman moment, people was in the comments like, no, it's Colorado State. That does it. What's your thoughts? Is that a Heisman moment?
Man. I mean, at this early point, I'm gonna say yes, because you can only, we looking for a moment, and I think we what's happening now is we forget how bad Colorado was. And let me make this clear. I don't know how good of a coach Deion is gonna be. A lot of stuff he's selling, I ain't really buying, but I think he's doing a great job so far, and I think he's probably gonna continue to do a good job. But we forget how bad Colorado was. And even looking at them now, that team has no freaking defense. So Shadeur is doing something amazing with a pretty incomplete team. So yeah, I'm gonna roll with him on that Heisman moment. Even in that game, we downplay it because it's Colorado State, and that's fair. That's more than fair. But going into the season, you would have said that was kind of a fair matchup because Colorado is so bad. But I think that's a fair assessment of that moment, of that drive, until we get something different. You know what I'm saying? Will he be able to pull up a moment like that against Oregon? Ooh, that's going to be a tough one, because it's got to be more than just him, right? You know what I'm saying? So I'm a roll with it. I'm a roll with it.
What you got, Rich?
No, I'm gonna agree with Kyle. You got to give Shadeur his flowers now, because if you don't, what he did gets lost in all of what's going to happen in the entirety of the 2023 season. So you got to give him his flowers now, because right now, I mean, coming into that game, he was close to 900 yards passing, and it was him and I think Caleb Williams is the top two guys when it comes to passing yards, something like that. Just
real
like
quick, Rich, news flash. Shadeur is number 2. He got 1,251 now at this point.
Right. Who's number
the
1?
The guy who I've been cooking on, not
Penix.
Caleb, Michael Penix, got 1,332 yards and 12 passing touchdowns to 1 interception. That's my guy.
So Penix is number 1.
You mean the street? Yeah, Penix is number 1.
he played against House of the Blind yesterday, bro. He had 340 yards.
I don't give a
man.
So did Caleb Williams.
No.
So did Caleb Williams.
That was down, and he took advantage of it, dog. He had 340 yards.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that, dog.
No, I think he's been doing like 400 this game, like a first game 400, next game 300. Like he's been doing it all year, though.
He's cooking with grease, dog.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your thought, Rich.
So I'm gonna say this. You got to live in that moment and give him his flowers. You got to give Penix his flowers too. I think Penix is the Heisman leader as well. I would even say number one quarterback coming out this year is going to be Caleb Williams for USC. I think number two is Penix, not Drake May. I think Penix is 2, Drake May is 3. But going back, give Colorado their flowers because we don't know throughout this season if we're going to be able to give them any more flowers.
Mm-hmm.
They have a tough schedule ahead of them with USC and the aforementioned Caleb Williams, who's not going to lay down. They got to go up to Oregon. Bo Nix is playing good football. They're not going to lay down, and their defense is atrocious. So if Colorado State had 3 sacks against Shadeur better 1-2 step that thing, 2 steps back and get that ball out.
Yeah, they have 4 against him. He's been sacked 15 times now in 3 games. So he averages 5. He averages getting sacked 5 times a game.
5 times a game. I don't want him to end up like DeAndre Francois at Florida State, where he just gets battered throughout the season. Because of course, you're projecting him to also be in that 2023 draft class. Hopefully, I think that's where the future lies for him. Maybe.
Shout to Reginald Dawson. I'm gonna let you finish, Rich. I think this is a very good explanation, but I will push back on that in a second. But go ahead, Rich. You can finish.
But I would say, it's week to week. Just like last week, Jacoby had a great game for us. He had 3 touchdowns. It was a hat trick, overcame adversity. This week, this past game, it was Restrepo. You got to give guys their flowers week to week and then evaluate at the end of the season. All
right, Street, let's hear it.
It's funny when you say Street into Street posted. It's a team of people that works for Footballville now, and that one did get passed across my desk before it went up. I think back to when I said Shadeur for Heisman when he was at Jackson State, and everybody laughed on my timeline at Instagram. Everybody thought it was funny. Come on, man, HBCU, he'll never win it. Yada yada yada, yada yada yada. Now he's came into D1, man, and I'm looking at these stats. He's been sacked because you talk about him getting sacked a lot. He's the third. He's been sacked the 4th most in college football. But when it comes to attempts, I knew that because I knew that had a lot to do with it. He has the 2nd most attempts in college football. Only the Hawaii guy has more, and Hawaii obviously doesn't have a running back at all because he has 40 more attempts than Shadeur, and he's in 1st. You know what I'm saying? So I knew that had a lot to do with it. But to say, I don't want to get too deep on this, you know what I'm saying, because we're finna get out of here. When I said it at Jackson State, people laughed. Then he comes and proves them wrong in D1 college football, right? And they say that's Colorado State. When Tim Tebow came into college football, he did a jump pass as a backup quarterback and was deemed Jesus. I mean, the next second coming. Media doesn't always look at things the same. That's why I'm glad Deion has his own media. Now, you get to see some bad sides of Shadeur. He's mouthy. He talks a lot of trash. And you get to see some great sides of him. You know what I'm saying? But these stories don't get told the same. They don't get told equally, bro. Like he doesn't get ordained the second coming, like others probably will. So give him his flowers, because I think to go from an HBCU and to come in here and prove that, hey man, HBCU quarterbacks can think, or however you want to have you. He probably should have never been there, but he was there. You know what I'm saying? I agree that it could be looked at, because 98 yards is 98 yards. I don't give a fuck. It's 98 yards. 2 minutes left. It's 98 yards. The other people on the other side do push-ups. They backpedal. They train and they work out just like you. And then to go into overtime and actually take the game, which I thought they were going to lose. I thought they was going to lose. I was waiting for Maddie to text me. I thought they was going to lose. I did. I thought they was going to lose. But I mean, now you see that Colorado has some great moments. You know what I'm saying? But they're not a great team yet. They're not there. They're not there yet. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be it may be a game or two where they probably get, I don't know if they ever get beat to sleep unless you knock Shadeur out, because I think they will always be able to put up some type of points. But yeah, they're not there yet. And it's going to be interesting to see what Deion deal with the actual losses. But Colorado has invited Footballville to come do a whole Footballville takeover the week of USC. So it ain't shit. You ain't gonna get me say nothing bad about Deion from this point on, Maddie. So you might well you just pack it up and go. So you feel me? So you just pack it up. It's over.
You going? Footballville fit takeover?
Yeah.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Footballville takeover.
We're gonna get access to the. And I saw Sapp the other night too. Warren Sapp walking out the game the other night, the Chaminade game, and he said, "Street, look at this. Look at the new room with Street. Look what the new room is." And guess what it said?
He was gonna
Warren
be a coach.
Sapp rumored to coach at Colorado. I said, "You going?" He was like, "I got a few things to do, man." He said, "Man, but I may end up."
I still stand unmoved. I am unmoved.
I think Deion is the personality that could control Sapp or coach with Sapp. You know what I'm saying? I don't think everybody could. I think he's very imposing. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if everybody could. But the knowledge is, the all around knowledge about life, period, when it comes to these athletes and what they should be doing, and is undeniable, bro.
And I'm gonna piggyback on that too. I think this is something that college football has been missing, and I think especially because we're in the world of NIL, you need more guys who've been there and done that, who look like the players. You need more black coaches, not only just black coaches, but guys who have played at the highest levels, who done been through the circus of recruiting, who've been through the circus and the games of NFL contracts and sponsorships and all that other stuff. You need these guys to be around these kids who are experiencing this for the first time. So that way they don't walk down the same road that some of the guys who walked down who weren't as successful traveled. And I think it's important. And it's also important because we got 50 plus with a mohawk. but also we got when you think about somebody like Sapp, just like Street said, he's more than just coming out of Apopka, Florida. I think him having the experience, you saw him he was on the hunting channel the other day over there trying to hunt snakes.
What is he?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With deer, I think it was the deer meat guy. He's been on the deer meat guy show as well, but he was over there hunting pythons and stuff. I know he had to be scared as hell.
That boy be living, man.
Yeah, he's unpredictable, but he can tell you about those type of life experiences where it's more than just your block. It's more than just getting your mama out the hood. It's about quality of life from the time you graduate high school all the way into your old age as well. So I like him for college football, period, or just being, even if he can't coach, but being a mentor, and hopefully he's still open to, you know, coming back to the U and mentoring some of the guys here too.
I'll say shout out to him. It's a good opportunity, but I will always stand on this, especially when it comes to hiring your friend. Don't hire nobody you're not willing to fire.
Well, they're willing to fire him.
Dion, no, I'm talking about, is Dion willing to fire Sapp? Are you willing to sever that relationship
Oh,
with somebody that you know
Yeah,
through the
I say
NFL
Dion
network,
business first.
through your actual personal relationships, like through college football, 25, 30 plus year relationship? Are you willing to completely obliterate that if he's not coaching the defensive lineman to a standard that you expect him to coach him as a, not only is he as a good player, but a Hall of Famer and now first time position coach? Or if he's not recruiting the type of guys you want, are you willing to say, hey dog, you gotta go?
That's a good question.
And that's the part that a lot of people don't
It,
talk about. We gotta talk about his relationships. We don't talk about, like, what if he don't meet the mark? I think Mark's gonna turn with, hey, if I don't get something out of this defensive line, I gotta be willing to say, hey, JT, you've been fun, dog, but I'm gonna need you to slide. So
I really don't think though. Here's what I saw. Here's just my honest opinion about Colorado, to be real blunt. I saw, and this is for both of those teams, really. I saw two teams that were playing because they love their coach and they love the culture that the coach put around them, not because they were good. Because you look at both of them teams, you like, man, did you see Texas A&M? Them boys is big, they fast, they're 5 stars. Colorado ain't that.
Right.
Neither is Colorado State. But it was on one play where the DN was chasing the quarterback for Colorado State, the DN for Colorado. Nobody knows his name. That dude gave everything. I think he dove and ended up in the player section, like on the bench. That type of effort is, you only give that type of effort because you love your coach. And it don't matter if Dion is like teaching you the basics. You're out there off of instinct and talent, just trying to win a game because you love your coach. I think that when you have a guy who has an iconic personality like a Warren Sapp, you're gonna do the same thing, because how are you gonna tell him that he wrong? He did it at every level. Just like what we got at with Jason Taylor. How are you gonna go out there and not make plays and then come back and sit and watch film with Jason Taylor like an idiot?
What?
What excuse are you gonna make? Oh man, you ain't teach me the right way. Huh? Huh? I didn't teach you, or you just not that dude? Or you just not giving 100% effort because you feel like not giving 100%? I think we missed that too. If you are Coach Mirabal and you didn't play in the NFL or you didn't play big time college football, then yes, you got to work your butt off. You got to know your X's and O's. You got to know, you got to come up, as Luke say, you got to be one of them yellow bus boys where where you done traveled miles on the school bus with shorties and with high school kids. You got to do all that. But if you're a dude who did it at every level and done seen every type of defense, done seen every size O lineman you could possibly think of, when you give a lackluster performance and you sit down and you go watch film with that guy, you know you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it because he gonna point out everything that's wrong. So it is what it is.
I'll get my last thoughts, and then we'll get ready to get up out of here. In regards to that moment with Shadeur, I do think it's a Heisman moment. I think when we go back and talk about, let's say, crazy scenario, they go undefeated, right? He does something absolutely unprecedented. When they show that highlight reel, that 98-yard drive is going to be on the drive, regardless against who the opponent was. There's going to be something else. It's going to have to be some absolutely outrageous throw he made against Oregon, and some crazy throw he made against Utah, and some absolutely mind-boggling throw he made against USC, where him and Shadeur threw for 600 each, right? I mean, him and Caleb Williams threw for 600 each. But that is going to be because that's where you spark the match. It's not the moment that's lighting the way per se to give a scenario or analogy, but it is the thing that's sparking the match for when we start talking about it. Like, people who are Heisman voters are looking at that and saying, and Street said that game was supposed to be lost. They're supposed to lose that game. Lose your best two-way player. He knocked out, sucked the win out of the team. I don't think it's the same impact as like a Cameron Kitchens, but it's impactful nonetheless. You know what I'm saying? It's a couple of them plays that maybe he shuts down the field if he's still in the game. But it's definitely those things that sparked the match. In regards to Sapp being there, like I said, you better be willing to part ways if your guy ain't developing, if your guy ain't coaching. You got to start putting people in the league. And you start seeing that. And I talked about that, from the crib talk about, Sapp coming over and wanted to teach guys, just wanted to be a GA. Once again, there's egos in that room, right? There's a defensive line coach that I'm pretty sure he brought from Jackson State. You got to tell that dude, hey, dog, it's been real, but Sapp coming in. He brought 5 coaches. I'm pretty sure the D-line coach, the linebacker coach, the running back coach, and 2 others he brought over from Jackson State. Everybody else he revamped, or he left them at Jackson State with the guy that he turned the reins over to. You got to tell him, hey, dog, maybe HBCUs is a better spot for you.
That's essentially what he did to the guys he left behind. It's like, we going, but you guys aren't good enough. So it's kind of gonna be the same thing. All right, we at this level, but y'all ain't good enough. It's essentially the same thing.
They winning though. They lost one game. I think who they lose to? They lost bad to somebody, but they've been winning everything else.
Jackson State?
Yeah, I think that dude who told him that they SWAC beat him pretty decisively too. So
we don't forget all about Jackson State. That's messed up.
I still go back and watch, man, because it's bigger than football, right? It's a whole portion of that. I think if we just simply stop looking at HBCUs, maybe it's because I got ESPN3, but a lot of those games do come on ESPN3, so I do tune into them. I'm all over the place, man. I'm clicking. I got like the multi streams up. I got like 5-6 games on at a time. I love college football for one, but two, it's just like, yeah, like I'm looking at stuff. I'm watching future opponents. I'm seeing who's mid and who's getting overly hyped because I know the media won't. So, Mr. Wilson, Texas State. So they lost to I guess a D1, G5. Texas State's D1, right? I'm pretty sure.
Texas State?
Yeah, Texas State's D1. The Fighting Larry Cokers.
I'm not sure what they is. The Fighting Larry Cokers.
Coco went to, I thought, was it Texas State or Texas Tech he went to?
Nah, Texas State.
No, he went to Texas State. He went to the House of the Blind.
Yeah.
Damn. My bad.
I think they recently moved up.
Them type of head coaches we were hiring. Right, exactly.
We'll save that for another one.
Yeah, let's get out of here, man. We got 10 minutes till football start, I'm pretty sure. Once again, couple partner shots. Once again, I'm posting in the chat. Please, happy birthday to that boy Popo. Right there in the chat. Go run that up, please. Watch that. Get those numbers up. Hit that like button.
Make sure they subscribe, man. Make sure they subscribe. It's a new. I turned it off. They couldn't chat unless they were subscribed because we can't forget that this is a new channel.
For sure. Hey, shout out to V, man, rocking with us, man. Hey.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I didn't know she was. Yeah, hey, shout out to V. She usually quiet, man. She was just in there posting links and stuff. But shout out to V, man. I appreciate her.
Text Coach Hayes she text Coach Hayes, told her she was out of time with her rounds. We appreciate that, Ellen. Thank you for coming over, baby. Appreciate that. I'm gonna stop messing with Ellen because she stayed out of the street from me. She would come over here and knock my ass out. But yeah, appreciate that. She said if she was close to the shoot, then yeah, she right down the street from me. I'm literally a minute and 30 seconds away from it.
Okay.
Two big things, man. We haven't touched on it yet, but I want to, man. Shout out to Twan, shout out to X. Both had losses. They both lost grandparents. So prayers up to them, man. Condolences, all that, you know. So if you see him on the timeline, man, show him some love. Twan, he be out the way anyway. But
no, y'all listen. Y'all can catch Twan on the Discord between 11 p.m. and about 2 a.m. Y'all want to see the man behind the magic? Y'all can catch up with Twan.
It's like 11 to 5. Yeah. That boy, yeah, he definitely on a night shift. Yeah, he definitely be thugging with his rounds late night, man. So once again, man, shout out to everybody being here, man. Y'all go enjoy your Sunday. Have fun. Shout out to Coach Hayes, man. Go like up Coach Hayes. He's doing some good stuff. I think he just dropped a new Good, Bad, and Ugly about Bethune Cookman. Broke down all the plays. Oh, nice. Go check that out. But yeah, man, that's it. Y'all got anything else to say before we get up out of here?
That's it for me.
Good.
To let y'all know, Street told y'all to buy Apple. If anybody that's in the actual stocks, buy you some options as far out as you can afford. Try about 177. Then thank me later and shoot me some money.
First, I want to put that out there too. We are not financial advisors. Please
thank you, Manny.
Take this with a grain of salt.
Thank you.
This is only advice for entertainment. We are not financial advisors. You're not about to sue Caneville. Caneville told me to put my whole life savings on Apple. No, we did not.
Just tell you what we would do. This is what I would do.
We are not. I gotta put another banner in there for that. We are not financial advisors. We are simply just giving you our advice. That's all IOD is, right? Same thing we do with these high school or college athletes and high school athletes who are getting all this money thrown at them. We sit them down. We're like, hey, this is what we think you should do. We don't hold a gun to their head and tell them what they're gonna do. Just give them advice. You know what I'm saying? So
that's it.
That is all. But with that being said, man, appreciate y'all. One time for the one time. Should we play the music going out?
You should.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's play the music out, man, for the crib, man.
Who made that music?
Get it right, 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 get it right. Do it for the VLB. Check it.